You're always so cheerful. How do you manage to remain so helpful when you're surrounded by such horror? Hope? No, no. Hope is a lie. What should we hope for? The world is in the hands of the demons, and gods can't help. Or they don't want to. Or they forgot about us altogether. The people know they're about to be eaten by demons. They still want to quarrel with each other and fight and steal. There's no hope, only us. We'll have to win without hope. It will be hard. The entire abyss is against us. We can only win by some miracle, which means we'll have to make one happen. What other choice do we have? We'll work a miracle and win because we have to. Alright, see you later. She seems really upbeat. Social? Good lord. Yikes. So much. Alright. Where are you from? I grew up on the outskirts of Carpendon, a large, rich city surrounded by gardens and vineyards. Just imagine miles and miles of greenery and fragrant orchards. My family had a small winery. I worked there from a young age. I pressed juice and did a little carpentry and painted. And one day I discovered I could do more than paint and simply cover the walls with it. There was a temple of Shellen nearby. My brother and I would often spend our days there listening to music and enjoying the stained glass windows. As a boy, my brother decided to devote himself to serving the Eternal Rose. Our parents hoped that at least I would remain to run the family business. It can't be helped. The goddess called to me too. It's all right. I have plenty of cousins, second cousins, and other relatives. When the war is over, I'll go back and see how they're doing. So you're an artist? That's too grand of a word for it, but yes, I love to paint and I know how to. Of course, a crusade isn't the best place for art. What I managed to draw here are at best sketches. I hope when this war is over, I'll be able to return to real paintings. May I see your sketches? It's nothing special, but if you're interested. How'd you end up in Canabras? I was hoping to find Trevor in the city, my brother. After my brother took his vows and was ordained as a paladin of Shellen, he departed for the crusade. He wrote home often about everything he saw, his battles, the people he helped. From his letters, I learned that he had joined the Eagle Watch in Canabras, but soon his letters became infrequent and then they stopped altogether. We feared news of his death, but silence was our only answer. Not a word from him or his command, or his brothers in arms. In the end, I couldn't wait any longer and I came here myself to find Trevor, if he's still alive, or in his grave, if he should have perished. But my brother seems to have vanished. I tried asking other paladins, but they refused to talk to me. It's very much like they're trying to avoid the need to lie. I sent official requests to their order's command. Still, I wait in vain for an answer. I joined the local church of Shellen, hoping to find out the truth one day, but the city was attacked by demons. I wonder if he's a fallen paladin. You must love your brother very much to follow him here. You have no idea how much. I would follow him to the end of the world, into the abyss itself, if need be. Trevor is an amazing man. I know he's alive. He's too stubborn to die. I hope one day he joins us, and then we will surely triumph. Instead of working as a craftsman, you decided to serve a deity. What an interesting turn of fate. Some clerics are proud of their tender hands, which have never touched anything heavier than a brush. But then there's nothing ugly about hard-earned calluses. Indeed, I should say saving the world is easier with strong hands. I'm sorry these hands couldn't save some of the people who died in Canabras. What is a servant of the goddess of beauty doing in a war zone, anyway? I'm doing what the goddess destined for me, to keep our fighters safe. I'm confident in our victory. The gods of good are on our side, and we cannot fail. But victory is not enough. I do whatever I can to help those who are holding off the forces of the abyss, so they may live long enough to see victory, without losing themselves along the way. Every one of our soldiers deserves a home where people love them and are waiting for their return. When our soldiers are finally able to go home, on that day, I may earn the right to lay down my weapons forever. How did you end up at the court of Queen Galfrey? When the city was attacked by demons, there was a hospital in our church. Every one of us was prepared to fight to the last to cover the evacuation. But our Mother Superior wouldn't let me join the fight. She sent me for help, and everyone who stayed was killed. Why did she choose me? Maybe it was because I was new, the youngest and least experienced of the clerics, and I wouldn't be much help in battle. Or maybe she was giving me a chance to survive while the rest of them bravely died. Shellen, be my witness, I did not ask for this. I would be honored to lay down my head next to theirs. I ran to the closest Mendevian garrison. I don't know by what miracle I got there. There were demons all around and everything was on fire. I remember my horse was killed right under me when I fought off some shrieking monsters, but when I came to, I awoke among friends. My first thought was this must have been a dream. In my delirium, Queen Galfrey herself was dressing my wounds. But it was true, the queen herself was tending to a lowly warrior. That's how I ended up in her army. I marched with them back to Carnabras, to the ruins. You fought in more than a few battles. What does your faith in Shellen mean to you now? In times of peace, the goddess is the embodiment of everything good in the world. Beauty, wisdom, happiness. After a day spent covered in sweat, with dirty hands and a sore back, I'd come to the temple and melt in the glimmer of the stained glass and the sounds of music. It's as if I departed the regular world and went up to the celestials. But here in the war, it's in the meat grinder among the demons, filth, and death. Here I know the true meaning of serving Shellen. She is not something higher that surpasses common people in her everyday life. She is that life. You see, true beauty is not in the statues and paintings, but in dignity. In what allows us to keep looking like people and not turn into animals or imps. I once thought that Shellen's domain was churches and museums, and that a world without her was a colorless, humdrum life. But in truth, peaceful daily life is beautiful. If you spend it among decent people and a world without beauty, it's not routine. It's a living hell. Without Shellen, all of Galarian would look like the World Wound. How do you manage to always look like you're on the way to a tea party and not battle? When I first got here to the World Wound, you know, the word terror doesn't convey half of what I felt. The land here itself is maimed and mutilated, desecrated. But more frightening still is what war does to people, to their bodies and souls. For every knight in shining armor, there are 100 warriors whose souls are maimed with fear, suffering, and cruelty. Many have forgotten why they are here, and now know only war. When there's a break in the fighting, they drink themselves into oblivion and wallow in the mud. They're rotting alive and don't even seek help. They gave up on themselves a long time ago. Don't misunderstand me. I don't condemn them. Quite the opposite. I want to help. And to do so, I must look after myself first. Not only to treat them and support them, but to remind them that there's something else besides war. There's a normal world out there, and a place where blood doesn't stain the ground, and people don't sleep in trenches. A place where, as you said, they even occasionally have tea parties. You do so much to help others. I want you to know whenever you yourself need support, you can count on me. Thanks for caring. I'm glad I now have a friend like you. I used to have no one to rely on besides my goddess. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I promise I won't neglect myself to serve others. I must have strength. Thanks. My pleasure. Alright, there's Horgus Gorm and the One-Eyed Devil. There's Horgus. There you are. I've been waiting. As you see, I too have joined the crusade. I don't know how to swing a sword, but war is costly and I have money. Besides, my intellect and business sense may prove useful even on the battlefield. Besides, I believe I owe you an apology. The way I behaved was rude, ill-mannered. You are an honest and honorable person. You have clawed your way up from the bottom of society to the title of Knight Commander, and you are friends with King Galfrey herself. Such perseverance deserves respect. Please allow me to give you this magic amulet from my humble personal treasury to mark our future cooperation. Why have you decided to support the Crusades now? With all due respect, that's none of your business. I have my reasons. Perhaps I felt a rush of patriotism when Canabras was destroyed. Anyway, why would you think I never supported the Crusaders? Perhaps I simply don't like to brag about my donations. Ostentatious charity only attracts beggars. I'd wager that Irabeth has no idea whose money she's spending on drinks and supplies. Why did you hide the fact that Camellia is your daughter? Didn't I tell you in the mansion? It's because her mother, Iris, was a lowly half-elf who looked after my garden. I always wanted to be a Gwyrm. I always wanted to join the Gwyrm name with another noble family. The Gwyrm legacy must not be mixed with common blood and vanish into obscurity. Iris didn't mind, and we managed to hide our relationship. When Camellia was born, I did not claim her as my own. To all of Mendev, Camellia is the daughter of a lowly servant who died over a decade ago. And before you start telling me what a terrible father I am, I want to tell you something. My daughter wanted for nothing. All her whims were fulfilled as quickly as they arose. I hired the best teachers and bought her the best books. She always ate well and had warm clothes. Isn't that what a parent does? How did her mother die? I'm not going to tell you about that. Some things ought to remain private. Are you aware of my special powers? People say a lot of things about you. They say you can make the burnt soil of the world wound bloom with a single touch, that your very image scares away the demons and makes their strongholds crumble. They also say that you pick your allies from among the rabble because it's your sacred duty to try and redeem them. Perhaps I put it too broadly. Let me explain. People see your power, and they also see that you are different from the other more righteous paladins. You are softer, brighter, a bit frivolous, if I may. They see that you have little respect for the rules and restrictions, and that gives them food for various thoughts. The Crusades have never seen a commander like this before. What if not all the changes and people you brought here are for the better? Given these sentiments, I would be very careful if I were you. It's very easy to get carried away from your games and turn this army into a farce. What's it like to live your entire life under someone else's name? When I was a boy, I used to hate Horgus. The condescension of it all. The pity on his face. His smile when he called me to join him in his games. The difference our birthright made wasn't fair. Envy clouded my mind. When the demons killed him and not me, I thought it was a gift of fate. I seized my good fortune with both hands and never let go. When I told them my name was Horgus Gwyrm, their only heir to a vast fortune of the Gwyrm family, on that day, life was fair. Unfortunately, it took me many years to see the generosity behind the condescension and feel the compassion beyond the pity. I discovered far too late that Horgus was my friend, even when I didn't feel this myself. I never accepted the hand of friendship he offered until it was far too late. But now what can I do? Reveal the truth, reject the name, and allow it to sink into oblivion? Would my friend Horgus want this? I bear the name Horgus Gwyrm with pride and dignity it deserves. As a banner on the battlefield, I will multiply its merits. The Gwyrm family will not be forgotten. I still serve Horgus Gwyrm. I have to go. A short, chubby tiefling with a golden eye patch spits chewing tobacco between his feet and takes another pitch from his tobacco box adorned with jewels. Fine day to you, Commander. Welcome to the One-Eyed Devil's trading house. Show me your wares. Karamaki +1. It's 2 AC. It's not worth. Oh, that's a +2 anyway. What do I care? Headband of Alluring Charisma +4. Interesting. The inn, a jewelry artisan. Half Measure Tavern. I learned something from this book. That was called Crusader Chronicles. Grants +10 hit points. Nice. There's Nenio. How delighted to know I need you for an experiment. So the great garrison stands roofless. Demons are running for the hills and their tails between their legs. Medeb's queen, what's her name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Ah, yes, Galfrey. She's scurrying to and fro, and this is all somehow connected to you, my loyal follower? Thus far, there is no scientific evidence of your exceptionality. If one discounts blind faith and divine intervention, which I do, we are people of science, refuse to believe the inexplicable without any truth. We're the ones who explain the inexplicable, and therefore, open your mouth and say, ah, for me. Ah. Alright, your throat's fine, tongue looks perfectly normal, your breath smells in line with regular functioning of the digestive system. Now for your teeth. No detectable alterations. By the way, did you know that many individuals, while being wholly civilized representatives of their race, have an amazingly powerful bite? After realizing something, she immediately pulls her hand out of your mouth. Are you really trying to find a correlation between fang length and civility? For the good of science, I look for correlations anywhere and in everything. How can you prove there's no correlation if you don't bother to look for one? Say nothing. Moving on. Alright, what do we have here? Ears. Let's check your hearing. Testing! He yells in your right ear and nods in satisfaction as she observes your reaction. Your hearing is fine. Was fine. But don't worry. It's scientifically proven that it should return to normal soon. Next. Eyes are clear. Posture is satisfactory. Limb length is standard. No lice. Boy, you are the picture of health. It's a pity. I was expecting to find some anomaly. Well, now let's assess your mental state. Imagine a hypothetical situation. You are a tree. 2 squirrels have found their way into your hollow and are now copulating there. What do? Let them copulate. An unconscious act of good, allowing 2 lesser creatures to procreate while protecting them during this crucially important process. On to the next question. Another hypothetical situation. You are a tomato. Okay. You have just been picked from the vegetable patch and put into a crate. You know that today the cook will use half of the tomatoes from your crate to make soup. What do? If I'm going to be eaten, there's not much I can do. That's the fate of a tomato. An unconscious act of submitting to the unspoken rules and laws underpinning the functioning of the universe. It's all quite clear to me now. Angelic self-sacrifice in the name of certain death and angelic concern for lesser creatures. You certainly have something of an angel in you. On that note, I deem this experiment complete. Thank you for your participation. And yet you remain a puzzle to me. I love puzzles. One of these days I will solve you completely, unless I forget. By the way, I have another assignment for you. So the experiment, I will need some supplies for this one. Bring me a bottle of alcohol. Any will do. Please hurry. I brought a bottle of alcohol for you. Here it is. My path to learning the true value of humanity and the perspective of the lowliest man on the street. She produces a corkscrew from her sleeve. Open it. The experiment definitely won't work if it's not open. Uncork the bottle. I'm taking a huge risk with this experiment. I'm putting my reputation, my good name, and even my future on the line. With the help of this bottle, I will lower myself to the level of an average man on the street and will try to understand the mentality of someone wholly devoid of intelligence. Thanks? You surely know, maybe even from personal experience, that alcohol dampens mental activity and is a catalyst for stupidity. With a brain like mine, alcohol is the only way to find out how it feels to be an idiot. Well, let's begin. Ugh, that's disgusting. How do you all drink this? I am doing this for the sake of science. That should be enough. Am I stupid yet? Quick, ask me something smart. I've passed all these checks. Okay. How many arcane schools are there? 8, of course. Transmutation, abjuration, enhancement, illusion, and so on. But I like she says and so on. By the way, did you know there is one more called universal or common pseudo school that disputes about the status of schools are capable of turning a quite old university professor into a growling, spitting barbarian? It would appear I'm not drunk enough. She takes another swig. Right. It seems to be working. Now I need to come up with an idea right now. I've usually got tons of ideas. Let's see. Discari and Baphomet. Their anti-Crusader alliance is not effective enough. They need to unite their forces on the physical level. Baphomet needs to mount Discari and ride him into battle. 2 in 1. Yes, the experiment was a success. I am definitely drunk. How does it feel to be drunk for the first time in your life, from a scientific point of view? Terrific. I've definitely become more stupid. More than that, I am dumb as a box of rocks, and right now I don't give a rat's ass about science. Wait, I think I've got it. That's how men on the street see science. They don't give a rat's ass about it. Who cares how many arcane schools were recognized by some Absalom professors? Arcane schools are over there, whereas the bottle is right here where it belongs. Congratulations, I guess. Now what? That's it for now. The experiment was a success. Just a moment, All right, I'm fine now. What was that? What was what? Yeah, a moment ago you were drunk as a skunk and now you're suddenly stone cold sober. Is that so? It seems this indeed is what happened. Clearly I decided to forget the incident entirely because I no longer need this information. What I need now is to write an article for the encyclopedia about the influence that alcohol has on an individual's mind. So you simply forgot you were drunk and sobered up? I have simply blocked the delirious effects of alcohol from my mind. To put it in basic terms, I just forgot I had consumed alcohol. The mechanism is similar to one uses to get rid of irrelevant memories. It's not overly complicated if you know how to do it. Alright, happy to help. On behalf of future generations, I formally thank you for your assistance in this momentous experiment. Now I have time to answer your questions. Come my way. Come on, ask away, sorry. Are you sure you really want to meet the mysterious entity we know nothing about? I am sure. I am convinced. Think about all the knowledge hidden there in the emptiness. It seems to me that this event is certain by my triumph. The experiment of the century, no, of the millennium. Or maybe it will become my downfall, a complete fiasco. Here's the deal. If the mysterious entity decides to gobble me up, run as fast as you can while it's distracted. Tell all of Galarian about the heroic death of its greatest daughter. Tell them she perished, but that she never strayed from the thorny road of knowledge. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you. Oh.
Oh, I thought you went, oh.
No, I went, ooh. Sage.
Move out.
Who's high lower? Wait, what is this? Perception 23. One old Kellid told this my brothers and me on his... Wait, what? Oh, it's this guy. I was like, who's high lower? I forget. Isn't this the guy that's hunting that other lady? My hunt demanded that I travel with your army. Naturally, I wouldn't burden your forces with the need to care for an outsider. I've provided myself with all the necessities. I found Kalissa spying on my camp, and you should be on the lookout for accomplices. Her demonic masters must have sent her to plot against you. And since she's already made her way into the camp, she will strike soon. I hope you weren't merciful with her this time. She left alive and unharmed. A resigned sigh burst from his lips. Then she has deceived you once more. I've met other elves that looked just like her. A few years ago, a sect of demon worshippers was uncovered in Kyanan. They were followers of Discari who had been brought together by his priestess Anamora. Naturally, as soon as the truth was revealed, a hunt for these evil zealots was called. They were all marked with the same brand of darkness as their leader, the wicked Kalessa. The sect was soon destroyed, but some of the cultists managed to escape. I pursued them in order to eradicate their evil root and branch. It is a great shame that the children of a noble nation have besmirched themselves with this taint, and I would be grateful if this confession were kept between us.
Head on!
Weird.
I lead. You follow. Onwards!
There's some guy named Greybor over here.
How can I help you?
Oh, it's this guy. You tried to kill that huge demon at the Battle of Dresden, but you failed. What happened?
Yes, that was a failure. It was supposed to be a clean job. An anonymous client, a worthy target, a substantial fee. But the client insisted that I use an enchanted dagger they provided. I was assured that a single hit would be enough to finish the job, but it didn't work as expected. It was a serious blow to my reputation. And my reputation is everything to me.
Who are you?
Don't you remember our last meeting? The name is Greybor. I'm an assassin for hire. But I suspect you're not here for small talk. Are you in need of my services?
I want to hire you to hunt for a dragon.
A large adult female? The one that's been snatching people and carrying them off? I've heard about her. That's an impressive target. I can take this job, but only if we do it soon. I'm expecting a new assignment from my regular client, and I'll have to leave as soon as I have the orders. And of course, you should know that this dragon will not come cheaply. 2,500 gold, paid in advance.
How about a small discount?
Let's think this through. Are there lots of assassins in this town who have the valuable experience of subduing dragons and are willing to work for you? Will I lose any profit by protracted haggling? Will you? Is there any chance that someone less competent than I am will be able to locate your target as efficiently as I would? No, I don't think so. There is absolutely no reason for me to give you any discounts. 2,500 gold is an honest price for the head of a fire breather.
I'm a little low at the moment.
What a pity. I won't work for anything less. You get what you pay for, and my professional skills command a high price. Good luck. If you wish to make use of my services, I'll be here, but not for much longer. I am expecting new orders to arrive soon.
Wait here. Wait. My name is Fikito. I'm the owner of the Half Measure. How shall I address you? I ask because I don't like undue familiarity, while others scoff at the tedious of ceremonies and titles. You just call me by my name. Deal, I know your name, of course. Who in Dresden doesn't? Let me see what you have to offer. Yo. Alright, stop. Buy that from me. I also don't need the bag of holding anymore, I guess.
Got a job for me, Commander? A large adult female? The one that's been snatching people and carrying them off? I've heard about her. That's an impressive target. I can take this job, but only if we do it soon. I'm expecting a new assignment from my regular client, and I'll have to leave as soon as I have the orders. And of course, you should know that this dragon will not come cheaply. 2,500 gold, paid in advance.
Here you go.
Excellent. Let's get down to business. It's no easy thing to take down a dragon when you don't have wings, so you'll need to follow my lead. The best thing would be to catch her by surprise in her lair, but we need to find it first. Of course, since she doesn't leave tracks, that might be tricky, but I think I have a solution. We need to go west of Dresden, to the Grimwood Forest. The dragon's been seen there often. According to the scouts, this is likely because there's still some wild game left in those parts. We'll set up an ambush there. I hope I can rely on your honesty. I understand that on our way to the dragon, there may be other fights or places we need to visit for various reasons. That's to be expected. However, should I see that you are deliberately delaying the contract, or that you're dragging me off to assault some demon citadel instead of going after the dragon, we will have to revise the terms of our agreement.
Fair enough. So basically, go do the dragon quest soon. No, don't dilly-dally too much. The prison.
Move out.
A house and a abandoned building.
I lead. You follow. Onwards! Move out!
Well, I mean, if you just found an eyeball in a barrel, do you think you'd just leave it there? There's a tongue in that one.
Head on! I lead. You follow. Onwards!
Okay. There's also a house over there I didn't go to. Let's do that real quick, actually. Lan, what's up, dude? What do you think about what happened in the Great Garrison? Did you feel a change in yourself? It's hard not to notice when the demons start running away from you like a flock of frightened bats. Powers granted by Iomade to defeat demons? Since I was a kid, I've taken whatever I've been given and used it to the best that I can. Anything goes when you're trying to survive. It doesn't matter where your blessings come from. We can think about that when we're old, if we live that long. But you know, this time, even I'm not so sure. A divine power that just appears out of nowhere? Sooner or later, we're going to have to pay for it. I'd like to know what the price will be. You have a way to tell day or night? You can't see the sun in the caves. Every mongrel settlement has a big gong, which we treat like a relic. The gong keeper hits it twice a day to mark the beginning and the end. But this is a custom doesn't keep time very precisely. Every mongrel child has snuck up to the gong to strike it at the wrong time at least once, just out of pure mischief. Nothing could keep me away from it. Not even the fact that I only had one ear, which means it would take double the punishment once I was caught. So sometimes the wrong strike gets mixed in with the right ones. The tribe can't keep itself from jumping up to greet in the morning, in the middle of the night. Do mongrel tribes fight each other? There were some skirmishes, and I've been forced to kill my kinfolk before too. Fights most often break out over food. We have laws in the caves, written and unwritten rules that we respect. We respect one another's right to live, but hunger, it can push a person over the edge. I've never, you can count on that, stolen someone else's kill, but I can understand those of my kin who tried. To hear your kids begging for food and not being able to feed them is terrifying. Are you really descendants of the first Crusaders? More like demon spawn, aren't we? Sad but true. Without the demons, there would be no mongrels. It's like the magic of the world wound that affected our ancestors and made their children the way they are. Like most in our tribe, Chief Sol fancies himself a descendant of the underground Crusaders, the ones whose heroic ancestors left to guard the caves. I don't know if it's true or not. That angel came to our caves for a reason. Maybe he remembered us. Those were evil and dangerous times after the First Crusade. Hundreds of Crusaders began having children, and the babies were being born with fangs and hooves and warts covering half of their face. People didn't like the new look. The Inquisitors sure didn't, so our ancestors fled persecution to make a home for themselves down under the ground. They probably intended to find a cure for their children and hoped to return home in time, but it never happened. Instead, the world wound's terrible legacy was passed down from generation to generation. Mongrel parents can only guide what their children will look like. Each one of us is born with a new mutation. Many mutations are fatal. Down in the caves, we usually don't congratulate a family for the birth of a child until they turn at least 3. Most don't even get a name before that. There's no point. It hasn't been that long since the First Crusade. Why do you know so little about your ancestors? Our lives are much shorter than most uplanders. Up here, only a few generations passed, but many who still remember old Sarkoris as it stood untouched by the demons. Queen Galfrey, for example. But where we live, mongrels start getting old much earlier than humans and faster, and with more devastating consequences. Few live past 40, and fewer still live long enough to die of old age. Hunger, disease, and monsters from the deep are a more effective killer than time. So for us, the story of the First Crusade is a legend that happened generations ago. There are no living witnesses. We have a tale of the wise and great ancestors who left us to stand guard in the catacombs, but in reality I suspect they were desperate wretches who couldn't find out how to dispel the demonic plague and who were abandoned by their own kind. You're the only member of the Neathholm tribe to call your people mongrels. Why is that? Because all of a Galarian calls us that? I don't see the point of us hemming and hawing over what we're called. Anyone who finds it offensive or takes issues with it can lead the charge against the name. No one's stopping them. But personally, I'm not going to pick a fight over something as unimportant as a name. Thanks.
Move out!
Let's check out the barracks. Know thy enemy, a crusader's brief. Perception and stealth skill checks +1. What's up, Elin?
Head on!
Actually, you know what? No, let's go through there.
I lead. You follow.
Alright. I guess that's it.
Onwards!
Hello. So, what do you reckon about everything that's come crashing down on us? All the responsibility, command, this new power?
It's a little overwhelming, to be honest.
Don't be sad. Look at me. I'm sitting here worrying over my troubles, but you have it much worse than all of us put together. I'm still frightened by what happened in the Grey Garrison. Were we really chosen? By Iomade herself? You know, back when I was a snot-nosed kid who just started down the path to becoming a paladin, I imagined once or twice that I was going to do something heroic. The lights would shine down on me, the trumpets would sing, I'd hear the voice of the goddess, or at least her herald, you know? I'd be informed that I had been chosen for a great cause. But that's the point where my imagination always failed me. Somehow, it really happened. Without all the trumpets or the herald or even anyone explaining what I had to do. Though it's clear as day, my place is here, in this demon-ridden wound. Quite a lovely war going on, in fact. Endless, I hear. I'm gonna need some time to wrap my head around this. Spare me an hour and I'll crawl into some dark corner and whine about my hard lot. What can I tell you? I cry easily.
The fate of the League of Cart affected you greatly. So you could say, I did what I thought was right. I tried to help a good person with their troubles, and what came of it? I'm sorry, but I won't find peace until I track down Curl and Jaina. What were they thinking? It's if they were, is there any way to get through to them, or should I just admit I was terribly wrong? There's another thing that's been worrying me. The way people react to our power and mine. They think that if we've been chosen by Iomade, they need to pray at our feet. I'm not comfortable with the younger warriors hanging on my every word. I feel alone. Nobody else is going to sit with me and celebrate saving a beer cart, and I'd like to regain, if not the friendship, at least the trust of the other knights, especially those I respect and consider my friends like Ewan. Alright, what's over here?
Move out!
History of the World Wound. +1 on religion and nature checks.
Head on!
Okay. Oh, Leoder. I've talked to Darren about the state. He's going to celebrate his birthday at Heaven's Edge so we can go there as guests. A celebration. That's far from ideal. It would be rather inconvenient for me to conduct an investigation with all the guests around. Thank you nonetheless, Commander. When you decide to go to the state, I will join you. I'd like to discuss our investigation. Alright. We already talked about that, but for some reason it doesn't think we
You
did.
follow.
So what was this purple thing? Arsino. Who is Arsino? A woman in brightly embroidered cleric robes greets you with a polite bow. Greetings, Commander. My name is Arsino. I'm a messenger of the Temple of Abadar in Absalom. I came here assuming the defenders of the fortress could use the services of a cleric. Perhaps you've heard of the wound that opens up in my chest? Are you familiar with this kind of ailment? So the wound was right here, and then it disappeared and reappeared. Amazing. No, this is the first time I've ever heard of such a magic. Can you give me some advice on how to heal it? I'm sure that you have already used purification and chaos warding spells, and for obvious reasons, you do not have the option of leaving the campaign and going on a long pilgrimage to various shrines. Since that's the case, keep a diary. Make careful and systematic entries about your well-being. If it gets worse, record the circumstances under which this happens. I'm afraid this is the only advice I can offer right now. What do you think it might be? I think this is some kind of demonic corruption or particles of chaos from the abyss that have entered the world through your body and made it so unstable. It sounds quite interesting, incidentally, judging from the records of the researchers of the abyss. Stranger things have happened in this cursed place. Thanks. Take care of yourself. What services do you provide? I can sell you various divine scrolls. Oh, yeah. Diamonds and diamond dust. Conman's ring. +5 bonus on perception and trickery. Cape of Pest Control. Red Salamander. The wearer of this ring gains the ability to cast spells spontaneously. It grants him the ability to cast the following spells: Fireball, Controlled Fireball, Fire Snake, Hellfire Ray, Firestorm, and Fiery Body. To cast a spell, the wearer still needs to have a spell slot of the required level. Bookworm's Headband. +2 bonus to intelligence score and immunity to all compulsion. However, they take a -2 to charisma and a -3 on all persuasion. Woof. Specialist's Belt. Whenever the wearer of this belt uses a scroll or a potion, it gives +1 to the caster level. That'd be really good. Arachnid goggles? War Kilt of Sarenrae. This is a skirt of overlapping, brightly colored silk is magically reinforced, granting you the durability and mobility. +2 natural AC and +4 mobility. Cap of Fainting. +2 bonus on feints. Pearl of Power. Burned Ashwood Quarterstaff. Half of the pair. Whenever two creatures wearing different halves of this pendant are within 10 feet of each other, each gets a +2 bonus on attack rolls and AC. Ring of Pyromania. Whenever the wearer of this ring deals fire damage through a spell, they deal an additional 1d6 +5 fire damage. They also get +2 bonus to caster level checks to overcome resistance. Headband gives +2 intelligence and +2 charisma. +2 to wisdom and charisma. +2 to intelligence and wisdom. +2 to intelligence and charisma. Interesting. I only have $2,300 though.
Onwards!
They're amazing, aren't they? We're being attacked by demons with unusual powers. Do you know anything about them? Back in the place I came from, there were rumors of terrible experiments that Baphomet and Tuscari performed on their troops to make them stronger. Here on the material plane, these rumors were embellished with lots of details. Some say that demons undergo rituals acquired from Zon Cathon. Others say they feed on the blood of angels or Qiploths or demon lords. Others say that there are no experiments and Baphomet is just bringing back fighters from the future, a future in which demons have already taken all of Galarian. Is there a grain of truth to any of these ramblings? There's no way to know. Naturally, none of these rumors give any indication of where these demons come from. Sorry, I can't help. The only thing I can say clear is that lowly fighters of the Army of the Abyss are as puzzled by this as we are. What are you doing here? I'm watching. I'm listening to their conversations, studying their faces. I'm trying to understand what they truly are. Have you learned anything new about mortals? They love cats. Seriously, have your observations led to anything? I wouldn't want to draw any rash conclusions. I've only been watching them for a short while, but I think I've understood one thing. The succubi have a saying, mortals always lie. If a mortal isn't talking, it means she's busy lying to herself. But now I see that this isn't true. You mortals aren't liars, you're dreamers. Each one of you creates a huge daydream for yourself and everyone you share your life with. It isn't exactly a lie because the daydream is your truth. Why do you like to watch people? You know, when I was in my old life, I thought I knew everything about them. I was a master of seduction after all. I knew how to tempt a mortal into doing anything I required. I could trap them in a lie or lie myself and never get caught. It's disgusting to remember, but that was my life for many centuries. Now I see I knew nothing. A demon warrior probably also considers himself an expert on mortals because he's killed so many of them. He certainly knows where to thrust a spear for a quick death and where to thrust it for how long for a painful one. And he thinks that's enough. My knowledge, it was of the same kind. I ruined many mortals without learning the first thing about them. Now I watch them to understand them. This won't give my victims their lives, of course, but still, by growing closer to the mortals, it's like I'm paying back some part of my debt.